Good afternoon, I'm still Jeremy, and I'm here in a city in Japan called Yokkaichi, and it has had quite the history. At one time, you could reasonably say that this was the dirtiest, grungiest, most polluted, greasiest, most awful city in Japan. Now it's a little bit different, but it hasn't been different for very long, and it still has a lot of remnants of the past and just a very weird history. So I'm going to walk around kind of this area. This is Kintetsu Yokkaichi Station. Around here are these kind of old shopping streets and little alleyways. And as I'm walking around, I'll try to discuss some of the history of this place and why it's so odd and what it means to people in Japan, because everybody knows this town, this city, even if people don't really come here for anything. It's not really a touristy place, but everybody knows it because it represents something in Japan. For now, let's just go wander around and take a look at the streets of Yokkaichi. Today I'm walking around the unique streets of Yokkaichi in Mie Prefecture, Japan, an extensive network of traditional covered shopping streets called Shotengai, and the narrow back alleys are both eerily quiet and bursting with curious and sometimes unexplainable things. Hot dog tongue. And then there is the spectacular port area, which has given Yokkaichi its cruel infamy. This is pretty crazy. First, let me read you a passage from a 1914 travel guide, English language travel guide to Japan, which mentions Yokkaichi. Yokkaichi was the first Japanese town to Europeanize itself, with clusters of factory chimneys, now so common a sight throughout the empire. Is one of the special open ports for the export of rice, wheat, flour, coal, and sulfur. And sulfur is where the big problem started in the 20th century. Might be an abandoned bicycle, but I can't really tell, so it doesn't count. I'll do my checklist today. So the history, while I'm looking for the little neighborhoods I'm looking for, I'll tell you the history of Yokkaichi. Yokkaichi was just sort of a nothing little village for a long, long time, and then it grew and grew, and by the 1500s it was big enough to have its own market, which was kind of well known. And the market happened on the 4th, the 14th, and the 24th of each month. And that's what the name Yokkaichi means. Yokka means the fourth day, and Ichi is a way to say market. So it just means the fourth day market. That's what the town is called, and that's what it's still called. And apparently there is still sometimes a market on those days that end in 4s. And today is such a day. Today is a day that ends in a 4 just by pure chance. I didn't plan that. It's just when I was able to come here. This, by the way, is my hotel. But I haven't checked in yet. It's too early to check in. Anyway, so let's see if I can find any kind of market happening today. So for a long time, Yokkaichi was most well known for being one of the stations, so-called stations on the Tokaido, which was this big long road between Tokyo and Kyoto. And Yokkaichi was one of them. And in fact, this was an important one because another important road down to Ise branches off from here. So this was a little crossroads. I will be talking about that in another video because I'm going to go down there because there's a train line there. Here's a nice park. There's a nice pigeon. But as you know, thanks to my viewer April on Patreon, she says pigeons don't count, and she's right. Doesn't count as a notable bird. However, does this lady count as a interesting statue or figurine? I think yes. So for a few hundred years, Yokkaichi was a famous market town. Still is, I guess. In the 1850s, there was a series of earthquakes that pretty much destroyed the entire thing. And then the next big thing that happened was in 1889, when Japan kind of modernized its town, city, and village system. And ooh, we go across. So Yokkaichi became the capital of Mie Prefecture. It was only the capital for a few years. The capital moved to Tsu, which it still is, a city a little bit south of here, which I passed through on my way here today. But Yokkaichi is still the biggest city in Mie Prefecture. still not count as notable birds. There's a lady feeding the pigeons. Oishisou.
美味しそう。
何ですか？
これ猫の餌です。
あ、そう。
だけど食べるもんで。
あ
ありがとう。
よかったね。Okay, what can I do? Those count. Those are notable birds. They're being fed by a adorable old lady. And I think I'm getting into the section that I was looking for here. Cool old covered shopping area. Some of it's covered, some of it isn't. But we'll see what this place is like. So to continue with the story of Yokkaichi, so Yokkaichi was known for its market. That passage I read from that 1914 travel book mentioned the chimneys and the smokestacks and the sort of modernization of the place. So what happened was, in the late 30s, chemical companies started coming here because Yokkaichi is a port, and it was a really important place for the sending out of, chemicals and industrial goods like that, especially important during the World War II. In World War II, go down this dark looking place. In World War II, Yokkaichi was one of the first places bombed by the Americans in Japan. It was also one of the last places bombed by the Americans in Japan in World War II, just because it was such an important port. And in fact, I looked for the word Yokkaichi in some American newspaper archives from the war years, and it's always in relation to its industry and being bombed. Just some of the shop names are cool to me. It's the Dining and Bar D-Max. There's the Bar Fire Forest for beginners. And of course, MJ Cranky with its cool looking cartoon dog, which I'm going to count as a cartoon drawing on a sign because that's exactly what it is. Well, if there's supposed to be a market here today, I think I missed it or it's not actually happening. There's a free chair if you want it though. Well, today it's pretty quiet here. I guess a lot of this is nightlife, so it'll be a little more happening tonight, I would imagine. The Bamboo Club, bamboo style. One set is 5,000 yen for bamboo style. One set over here at Bamboo Club is 6,000 yen. I don't know what a set is. Talk with girls and have drinks and food, I guess. So the chemical industry, that's the big thing here in Yokkaichi, is the chemical industry. So in 1960, a new plant opened up, and immediately residents, especially right around the chemical plant, started getting sick. Big respiratory problems, and it was a big deal. Like, a lot of people were getting very, very sick, so they were complaining. The residents were complaining to the chemical company, and the chemical company ignored them because that's what you do. Hey, cool. Music, live bar, Last Waltz. Classic rock fans will know that that Last Waltz is the logo from the band Last Waltz, the album and movie and concert. So some of the residents, and forgive this rambling story, but I'm also very distracted by all these cool things, these cool shops and colors and shapes and everything. This is a really neat place. R2 Potato Head, Spider Spud, Spud Drooper. Just cool stuff in windows. New Florida. I think these are just like little bars. Wait a minute. Something I must have passed a million times without noticing, but here's another one. A hair salon. I've never quite seen a maze of covered shopping streets quite this extensive. This is really cool. And weird that everything's closed right now. It's a weird look at it. So a few very unfortunate things happened after the chemical company came in and everybody was getting sick. So the people were complaining and the chemical company was ignoring them. And then certain people around town, even some prominent residents, started committing suicide. And in their suicide notes, they would mention it's because of the sickness from the chemical plant. It's just unbearable. And that really got people's attention. And then the fishermen who worked here, they were sending their fish to the big fish market in Tokyo, the famous fish market, and the fish was being rejected by the market. The people were saying, no, your fish it's real greasy and it doesn't taste good and we don't want it. So that really upset the fishermen. Hang on a second. Hang on a second, there's a cool shrine here. This is called Suwa Shrine. Let's go take a look. So the fishermen one day went down to where a big pipe was leading from the chemical company and spewing out all this stuff into the water around here, which is called Ise Bay. It's really the Pacific Ocean. And they took a bunch of sandbags and they were going to block the pipe, kind of this act of kind of civil defiance or whatever against the chemical company. So they were putting sandbags in. The chemical company people, they found out about it and they started increasing the flow through the pipe. And to get rid of the sandbags, and it became like a physical fight, this confrontation between the fishermen and the chemical company people. So the police had to come in and let's pass through here. Police had to come in and break it up, and it was really just awful, violent, screaming matches and all this kind of stuff. So eventually, all of this led to two things. I should shut up. Walking around here yelling about chemicals. All right, let me go where it's a little more okay to be talking to the camera. How about over here? There's hot dog tongue. Okay, this tree cut into circles, so mark that off the list. All right, we'll try this alley here. Here is Yokkaichi, by the way. 4-day market. So all of this stuff with the chemical company and the unrest in the town here finally came to two important things. Look at the ironwork on this building. So first, the government instituted the world's first abandoned. The tires are flat and stuff is starting to grow around it. So let's call this an abandoned bicycle. So the government here started in the 70s the world's first public relief program for victims of pollution problems. And also, maybe even more importantly, it became Japan's first ever pollution-related court case. And the chemical companies lost, so they had to clean up their act. So now Yokkaichi is not polluted. So goes the story. And the word Yokkaichi kind of means now a success story. How to turn a bad situation into a very good situation. More environmentally friendly and stuff. And if you didn't like that last abandoned bicycle, here's another one. If you don't want to go to rehab, you know, they do takeout. And then the other thing is that the industry and the chemical companies and all of those huge, dismayingly ugly things are still on the coast. And they've actually become a sort of ironic tourist destination for Japanese people because it's a good photo opportunity. Apparently, the lights of the facilities at night kind of glimmer off the water. And it's so huge and so kind of apocalyptic dystopian that people think, wow, that's pretty impressive. So I'm actually going to try to go there tonight. I think I've found a way on a local bus to get to a little spot where most people don't go for this sort of photo. And I'm going to see if I can catch it from this kind of unusual angle across the water. Sometime tonight after dark, after dinner. If I can figure out the bus system here and make sure there's a bus back. All kinds of cool stuff. There's Thai restaurants, there's Philippine restaurants. Well, maybe not restaurants, but places to talk to girls. These trees cut in the circle. Oh, wait. Before that, I see some cool graffiti. Well, some okay graffiti. Again, I can't read it. Can you read that? It says, but it counts. I'm not going to call these cut into circles. They're cut into something, but it's not quite circles. It doesn't really grab me. Wait a minute, I think I see a big Santa sitting on a building over here. Is that what that is? This is a really neat place. It's got a lot of character, and Yokkaichi has over 300,000 people, and it's one of the cities that's actually growing in Japan. Kind of like when I was in Yonago last year, that city's also growing. So while many places in Japan are declining in population, sometimes precipitously, this one's doing fine and getting more people. And I can see why. I mean, I don't actually know why economically, but I can see that it's a fun place to live. They do have 100 yen bubble waters. Oh man. I've got 100 yen. It's the perfect city. Anywhere that has a 100 yen bottle of carbonated water is the perfect city. It's like a porno theater. Porno theater next to this. Can't say they don't have range here in Yokkaichi. There's a scooter. CC50 Honda scooter. Mark that off the list. You know that feeling when you're making a YouTube video and you've already checked something off the list, say interesting statue or figurine, and then you see another even better one and you're not quite sure how to feel about it? Well, I have to say that at this time of day, here on a Monday afternoon, It's dead here. There's nothing happening here. There aren't that many people out. Everything is closed. It's nothing but shutters and signs and some weird statues and a few things open, and the kind of old, dirty architecture of the covered shopping street itself. And I must say, it is a fantastic place to walk around. I have really, really enjoyed walking around Yokkaichi, and this is just one small part of it. This is just kind of the nightlife part of it, I guess. Never quite seen a covered shopping area in Japan quite like this one. Not even sort of remotely like this one. This is so extensive, and it just keeps going and going and all these weird things, so it's great. So I am going to go check into my hotel now and take it easy for a little bit. And tonight I'm going to, actually while I'm there, spend some time trying to figure out the buses. I'm going to go out to the port, which is this way. It doesn't look like anything from here, but I'm going to go out to the port and see if I can get pictures of this spectacular ugliness at night with the things on the lights on the water and everything. So we'll see how it goes. So I'll see you for that. See the evening's adventure, more bus confusion, the eerie port area, and my quest to the famous night view in the full extended version of this video at patreon.com/T1DWonder. Okay, I gotta go quick. The video is over here. It's raining on my new camera. I really don't like this. I'm gonna read the list out real quick. Here's the list of stuff today. Abandoned bicycle, interesting statue or figurine, motor scooter, obachan with cart, notable bird, cartoon drawing on a sign, graffiti, hair salon, tree cut into circles, car elevator, and a beer vending machine. So that is my look at Yokkaichi. What an amazing place. This is really one of the more unique places I've been in Japan, and what a legacy here. So thank you very much for watching. Next, I'm going to be exploring a little bit outside of Yokkaichi in the next video. There is a train line, a private train line here, a private railway that goes out to some pretty interesting places. So see you next time for that, and thank you very much for watching, and I'm going to go see if I can find my bus. So see you next time. Watch today's full video plus more exclusive travelogues, video diaries, and other stuff as a paid or free supporter at patreon.com/T1DWonder. Thanks to everyone helping me keep this channel alive. Special thanks this week in random order to Will Phillips, Darcy Otranto, Matt Kane, Ray Nichols, Calvin Ferreira, David Richley, Lever Wong, Michael Fedor, Russell Davis, and Samantha. Thanks for wandering around Yokkaichi with me. Everywhere is worth exploring.